Bethpage Black didn't just host a Ryder Cup, it turned into a full-blown brawl disguised as golf. Fans were tossing beer cans, caddies were going at it with players, and by Saturday, Bryson DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy were dead center in the chaos. Bryson flexed like he was in a boxing ring, Rory snapped back, and boom, the internet exploded.
Level of abuse that you and others I know received this weekend. I mean, is it something that you just have to accept, or is it something that's taking the game in a dangerous direction?
No, I don't think we should ever accept that in golf.
Was this golf's most disgraceful meltdown, or the greatest show the sport's ever seen? Stay locked in for the fallout. The Ryder Cup hit Bethpage Black in Farmingdale, New York from September 26th to 28th, 2025. And that course lived up to its savage rep. Loud, mean, and totally unforgiving. But the real violence? It wasn't the fairway rough, it was the crowd's wild behavior. By day one, reports already said US fans took rowdy to a whole new level. Like, are you kidding me? People weren't just cheering. They were roaring like it was a heavyweight fight, chanting at players, flashing signs that crossed every line imaginable.
At one point, I thought we were going to have an all-out WWE brawl.
Even some pros admitted they'd never seen anything like it in golf's history. Officials tried to calm things down, but Bethpage wasn't having it. The crowd fed off the chaos, and by the end of Friday, it felt less like a tournament and more like a full-blown showdown. Territorial heckling got ugly, real ugly. The chants turned into slurs, and yep, beer cans actually started flying through the air. Officials were scrambling like headless chickens, kicking out fans, tightening security, and straight up begging the crowd to calm down. Spoiler alert, nobody chilled out. On the scoreboard, Team Europe and the US were neck and neck, trading punches like prize fighters. But the headlines? They weren't about golf scores anymore. ABC News, ESPN, everybody was talking about the chaos, the confrontations, the crowd gone wild. Social media blew up with shaky clips of fans screaming insults at European players. Even the commentators couldn't fake it. This wasn't banter. This was straight up abuse creeping into the broadcast. And that's the wild part. Golf had officially lost its cool. Players were shaking their heads in disbelief. Caddies were stepping in like bodyguards. And every hole felt like a war zone with mics picking up words no network could air. The atmosphere was electric but dangerous, and even veteran reporters said they'd never felt energy like that before. Pure madness wrapped in golf etiquette gone rogue. The Ryder Cup has always fed off chaos. The pressure, the pride, the chest-thumping nationalism, but Bethpage 2025. That wasn't passion anymore, that was pure carnival brawl energy. The crowd wasn't just heckling European players, they were inside their heads, sparking on-course meltdowns that flipped the whole vibe. By Saturday, Team USA's so-called home advantage looked more like a PR disaster on live TV. Everybody could feel it. This cup wasn't about who could sink the most putts. It was about who could survive the madness. At one point, it looked like a full-blown brawl was about to break out right on the green. And then came Saturday's four-ball match, the moment that defined the chaos. Hole 15, a brutal par 3, tight pin, roaring crowd, nerves on fire. It was the perfect recipe for disaster. Fans were stomping, shouting, even chanting players' names, just to throw them off rhythm. Cameras caught faces twisted in rage, some players looking seconds away from losing it completely. It stopped feeling like golf and started looking like a reality show gone wrong. Egos clashing, emotions raw, and the world watching every second live. Everyone realized quick, this Ryder Cup wasn't about golf anymore. It was survival out there. For a second, it looked like we were watching a full-on WWE match instead of a tournament. Saturday's four-ball showdown gave us the clip that defined the whole feud. Hole 15, a nasty par 3, had everything. Tight pin, fans losing their minds, and nerves hanging by a thread. Justin Rose stepped up, eyes locked, lining up his putt while Bryson DeChambeau's caddy, Greg Bodine, crouched nearby trying to read the green. Rose sank his putt clean, then suddenly snapped. He threw a sharp gesture, barking at Bodine to move out of the way. That's when things went nuclear. Bryson's crew started yelling back, arms flying everywhere. The tension exploding like someone lit a match in a gas leak. Players were caught between stepping in or stepping back. Officials sprinted onto the green, and cameras were zooming in like it was the moment of truth. You could hear fans gasping, booing, screaming, pure chaos blasting through every mic. It wasn't golf etiquette anymore, it was pride versus fury, and nobody was backing down. They shuffled forward with that try me energy, body language screaming we're not backing down. Cameras locked in instantly while officials sprinted over, desperate to stop what looked like it could turn into a full-blown shove fest. The whole thing barely lasted a few seconds, but in Ryder Cup drama, a few seconds can live forever. NBC Sports caught every angle, every glare, every twitch. ESPN slowed it down like it was the Zapper-theing film. And Twitter? Oh, Twitter lost its mind. They crowned it the Bethpage blow-up. Was it mind games? Was it about respect? Or just two teams snapping after 48 straight hours of chaos, booze, and pressure? Depends on who you ask. But what really stuck was the image. Justin Rose, the seasoned vet drawing his line in the sand, and Bryson, the American powerhouse, refusing to back an inch. The tension in that stare could have cracked glass. Man, the air was thick with pure adrenaline. Even commentators were speechless, mumbling through the replays while fans online turned the moment into memes, theories, and endless debates. It wasn't just a putt anymore. It became the defining face-off that turned the Ryder Cup into straight-up legend status. And right there, in that tiny burst of greenside drama, golf's fragile etiquette just shattered wide open. The fans couldn't get enough of it. Suddenly, the Ryder Cup wasn't about lifting a trophy anymore. It was about who'd win the fight. Was this pure passion or straight-up poison? Are these wild crowds what make the cup electric, or did we just watch the sport cross a line? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is on fire. After the chaos, Bryson did what Bryson always does. Grabbed the mic and turned it into a headline. In his post-round interview, he brushed it off like it was nothing but Ryder Cup intensity, his favorite excuse. But he didn't stop there. He leaned right into the rivalry, smirking through quotes about how Europe knows how to work a crowd, and how players need to respect positioning on the greens. Classic Bryson, doubling down when everyone else was trying to cool off. Reporters tried pushing him for more, but he just grinned like he owned the chaos, fueling every headline for the next 48 hours. The crowd ate it up, clips went viral, and even neutral fans started picking sides. Was Bryson the villain or the showman golf secretly needed? Bryson lives for chaos. He feeds off it. But at the same time, he swears the world's got him all wrong. At Bethpage, he had everything he thrives on. Hecklers firing him up, cameras glued to his every move, and the media twisting his quotes into viral theater. Whether or not he actually has beef with Rory, Bryson knows one thing for sure. In the Ryder Cup, perception counts just as much as points. And he played that game like a master. But while Bryson leaned into the noise, Rory McIlroy tried to drown it out. The Northern Irishman was battling the crowd all week. The chants, the jeers, the nasty taunts that went from playful to downright personal. By Saturday, he hit his breaking point. NBC's cameras caught him freezing mid-round, jaw locked tight, then snapping with a fierce verbal clap back at a cluster of hecklers. The clips blew up instantly. Rory had finally had enough. His teammates tried to calm him, but he wasn't hearing it. The man looked ready to walk straight into the stands himself. That fire in his eyes said it all, and fans across the world couldn't decide if it was iconic or out of line. Either way, Rory just broke golf's quiet man image wide open. Rory's veins were popping, you could see the fury written all over his face. He told fans straight up that enough was enough, and when he hit those press conferences, the filter was gone. He called parts of the crowd abusive, and then came the bombshell. Reports said a beer can actually hit his wife in the gallery. That one detail flipped everything. This wasn't just sports frustration anymore. It was raw human outrage. There's passion, Rory told reporters. And then there's crossing the line. The media ate it up like candy. Overnight, Rory wasn't just Team Europe's leader. He became golf's moral compass, the one calling out where respect ends and chaos begins. But here's the wild twist. In the Ryder Cup, chaos sells. The more Rory scolded the fans, the louder the clips blew up online. And the chants, they only got crazier. Social media was split right down the middle, respect versus rage. Commentators called it golf's cultural breaking point. Fans argued non-stop, and hashtags like Rory vs Bryson and Bethpage Madness trended for days. Every angle of Rory's meltdown turned into a viral moment. The glare, the quotes, the storm that nobody could stop watching. American fans called Rory soft, while European supporters crowned him a warrior under fire. The visuals were too good to ignore. Bryson grinning through the booze-soaked chaos, Rory fuming through the insults. Fire and ice, swagger and fury. If Bryson wanted a rivalry story, Rory just signed the other half of the deal, live, in front of millions. By Sunday, this wasn't about pars or birdies anymore, it was Bryson versus Rory. Chaos made flesh on both sides of the Atlantic. Two titans feeding off the madness. So tell me, are you Team Bryson or Team Rory? Smash that subscribe button for every twist in this feud, cause this war's just getting started. And buried beneath all that chest-thumping drama, a smaller, overlooked subplot that might just change everything. Behind the noise, whispers started flying about locker room tension, private player meetings, and a growing rift between captains and officials. It wasn't just Bryson and Rory. The whole event started feeling like a powder keg ready to blow. Rumors said even team staff were clashing off camera, and that one hidden argument could rewrite the Ryder Cup rulebook forever. The caddies, usually the quiet shadows of golf, suddenly became part of the spectacle at Bethpage. Greg Bodine, Bryson's right-hand man, turned into the lightning rod the moment Justin Rose told him to step aside on the 15th. But that wasn't just a one-time spark. All week long, cameras kept catching caddies edging into sightlines, leaning over putt paths, hovering just a bit too close for comfort. In golf terms, that's like waving a red flag in front of a bull. Etiquette, the sacred glue holding the sport together, had become a war zone. Rose's outburst wasn't just about irritation, it meant something deeper. A veteran drawing the line, saying, "Respect the game." And Bryson's camp barking back? That was Team USA making a statement of their own. We're not backing down, not even an inch. Fans couldn't believe what they were watching. caddies turning into headline makers, players snapping mid-round, and the Ryder Cup transforming into a pressure cooker of pride and ego. Commentators said it best. Bethpage didn't just test skill, it tested sanity. Every glare, every whisper, every step across the green became part of golf's most viral standoff ever. When the chaos finally cleared, Europe hoisted the trophy, but honestly, the score barely mattered. What stuck were the bruises, both physical and reputational. Fans got tossed out, players were rattled, and headlines screamed about abuse, brawls, and broken etiquette. This Ryder Cup wasn't just golf anymore, it was a full-blown spectacle teetering on WWE territory. And once the dust settled, the fallout split the world of golf into three camps. First, the sportsmanship police, demanding tighter rules, more security, and questioning if Bethpage should ever host again. Second, the player accountability crew, saying stars like Bryson and Rory need thicker skin and cooler heads under pressure. And third, the chaos lovers, the fans who swore this wild energy is exactly what makes the Ryder Cup unforgettable. Every talk show, podcast, and sports feed was flooded with hot takes. Was it the fans' fault or the players who let it get personal? Debates raged for weeks, with old-school legends shaking their heads while younger players secretly admitted this was the most alive golf had felt in years. Golf Digest and Golf.com went full investigator mode, zooming in on every caddy move like it was a crime scene tape. Was Bodine really blocking Rose's line? Was it innocent, or was he playing mind games? No one could agree, and that's exactly why it blew up. In Ryder Cup culture, even a tiny gesture becomes myth. One crouch, one glance, and suddenly it's national-level gamesmanship. And while fans were going wild outside the ropes, the etiquette inside the ropes got dissected like never before. That little flash of tension between Rose and Bodine turned into days of debate, viral clips, and millions of views. The caddies stole the spotlight, proving that sometimes the quietest figures on the green can carry the biggest noise. Analysts broke down every frame like courtroom evidence. Players were grilled in pressers, and suddenly golf's calmest profession looked like a psychological battlefield. It was chaos in khakis, proof that even a crouch in the wrong spot could spark global headlines. Bryson kept leaning into that tough guy act, calling anyone who couldn't handle the pressure weak, brushing off all the tension as just part of the game. Meanwhile, Rory doubled down too, demanding that organizers finally draw the line between passion and pure abuse. Justin Rose and a few other veterans tried to stay cool, but their faces on that 15th hole told the whole story. Behind the scenes, officials were already reviewing security, quietly admitting Bethpage had turned into full-blown carnival chaos. Insiders whispered that even tournament sponsors were furious, threatening to pull funding if things ever got that wild again. And yet, views were through the roof, engagement skyrocketed, and suddenly golf was trending worldwide like a Netflix drama. By Monday morning, the fallout was everywhere. Press conferences, podcasts, and late-night talk shows couldn't stop replaying the madness. Bethpage 2025 had turned golf into pure spectacle. Love it or hate it, everyone was talking about it. Bryson and Rory's tension had become the new goldmine for clicks, memes, and conspiracy theories. Fans were convinced the rivalry had crossed the fairway into full-on personal beef. Every smirk, every comment, every replay got dissected like courtroom evidence. Meanwhile, players who stayed silent were suddenly asked to pick sides. Even the calmest pros couldn't dodge the drama anymore. Sponsors loved the visibility but cringed at the chaos. Golf had gone viral for all the wrong reasons, and the PGA knew there was no putting this story back in the bag. By the end of the week, one thing was crystal clear. Bethpage didn't just host a Ryder Cup. It changed the game forever. Rules are already being reviewed, new crowd control policies are in the works, and insiders say future events might come with stricter fan zones and zero-tolerance rules for heckling. But here's the kicker. Fans don't want calmer golf. They want the energy, the fire, the raw emotion that makes moments like Rory versus Bryson unforgettable. So where does golf go from here? Can it balance respect and rebellion, or has the sport just stepped into a new era of entertainment over etiquette? And the biggest twist? This feud's gonna outlive the final score. Clips of that 15th hole, Rory snapping at hecklers, Bryson smirking in interviews, they'll keep replaying for years. The rivalry both sides pretend to downplay, it's the very fuel that keeps the Ryder Cup alive. Because the truth is, this tournament doesn't just survive chaos, it needs it. But Bethpage 2025 proved one thing. That fine edge between passion and chaos can cut deep. The final score might fade into history, but this rivalry, it's here to stay. So what do you think? Was Bethpage a total disgrace to golf, or the Ryder Cup's most electrifying showdown ever? Drop your thoughts down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to Golf Swing for every twist before the next epic clash. And don't blink, because if this is what 2025 looked like, just imagine the fireworks waiting for 2027. Golf's not quiet anymore, it's wild, loud, and absolutely unstoppable.